Welcome back to Brothers Talking Sports. I'm your host, Oscar, here with my co-host, Shay and Max. We're here. No, Max. Jesus. Shay and Ezra today. Week 12 preview and predictions. I've held a mic for about 60 to 70 episodes throughout this thing, maybe even more. And now I have a mic stand that costs like $10. So I don't know why I haven't invested in this more. Guys, how we doing?
Max might be coming. Maybe, for once.
Max might be showing up. I don't know. Is he over there? Yes. Is he going to show up? Who knows? Ezra, how you doing?
I'm pretty good. I didn't fail my exam I just took, so that's good.
I have no idea what you just said, but great.
He said he didn't fail his exam.
Oh,
I didn't fail my exam I just took, so that's good.
That's good. That's good stuff, Ezra. Good job to not fail. Shay?
I didn't study, wasn't ready, and closed up.
Thank you. I'm doing all right.
All right. Yeah, so we have nobody on the screen to start off with. I didn't get around to it.
We had Daniel Jones by himself.
Listen,
but now he's not there anymore.
Honestly.
Just like he's not on the Giants.
We'll get there.
Honestly, our players, our pictures are in the next 5 slides.
I was going to say, you get all your jokes out now. Cowboys Super Bowl hopes were there. They're not there anymore.
The Jets Super Bowl hopes were there.
Super Bowl hope. The Jets franchise, like any type of savior hopes were there.
Yeah, anything from the Jets.
Football in New York, except Buffalo.
Football
Buffalo's good.
New Jersey football.
Yeah.
Buffalo doesn't even play in New York.
Exactly.
The Bears' hopes of winning last week.
Dude, the Bears should have won last week.
The Steelers' hopes of winning on Thursday Night Football against Jameis Winston's a dog.
The Steelers on Thursday night games on the road. Mike Tomlin's 0-8 on those games.
Yep.
That was some weird game last night. Very, very sloppy. All right, let's get into the first person. We're going to talk about the Giants organization. So at least some of the players. Some of the key pieces in the organization, and we're going to start at the top. We're not actually going to talk about John Mara because it's not really too much to talk about John Mara. He doesn't do too much, but we talk about, okay, the government doesn't like me today. Joe Schoen, the New York Giants GM. So let's start all the way back in 2022. Okay, hold on. All right, we're good. Joe Schoen became the Giants GM back in 2022. He gave Daniel Jones, this is where we start, Daniel Jones the 4 years, $160 million contract. I think we can all say that was probably not a good idea. I thought that they should have given him the contract, probably around somewhere to 35 to 30 mil, but they didn't do that. They offered him $160 million 2 years ago. They re-signed Saquon Barkley for a franchise tag that year. And then everything went downhill just about from after they signed that Daniel Jones contract, right? Saquon this offseason doesn't re-sign. Daniel Jones is not playing anymore. He hasn't built a roster that's very good enough for the Giants to sustain, I think, his job. The players do not like him. Multiple players do not like him because of what he's done to. They got rid of Nick McLeod. That was some key players liked him. A lot of things Joe Schoen didn't do. He's not very liked in the locker room. Guys, any thoughts on what I've just told you guys? The information.
I just want to say, here's the thing. Now, when the Giants paid Daniel Jones, was it a bad contract? Yes. Now, it's not for the reason you think. He came off a good year. They went to the playoffs. They won a playoff game. Teams pay quarterbacks based off potential all the time. We saw Trevor Lawrence really hasn't shown too much. He got highest paid quarterback. Jordan Love looked really good for half a season, and the Packers gave him the highest paid contract. Teams give quarterbacks contracts sometimes just off of potential and raw talent and what they think. The thing with Daniel Jones is you watched him play and said, there isn't anything better you're going to get from him. You kind of saw the peak of Daniel Jones. He could move when he has time. He could set his feet and deliver, for the most part, an all right ball. He likes to go to his first read a lot. When he doesn't have his first read, he kind of panics off of his second and really doesn't get to his next read. But there was I think you guys can agree with me. There was nothing watching him where you're like, this guy's going to develop into one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
100%.
There was no special to him where you're like, there's potential there that this guy could be really good.
You thought that you could hopefully he was like the best, like the best he would be as a top 10 quarterback.
Like his ceiling was like Kirk Cousins was kind of like the best way to put it. He's not going to do anything to win your team games like crazy.
Yeah.
But he could get the job done. And if you built a good roster around him, you could be a pretty good team. That's kind of what they were hoping for when they gave him. And that's what you gave him a $40 million contract, which there's $55 million contracts now. So in hindsight, it's not a lot.
It doesn't look too bad.
It's 15 mil less. But again, you're paying him hoping he would be in that 10 to 15 range of the quarterbacks where he was not there at all.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think he's also built a very good roster, right? He hasn't hit on many draft picks. Like this year, he's had a very good draft class, but outside of this, he hasn't hit on many good draft picks, Joe Schoen. And as a GM, I just don't think he's done enough to keep his job this year. Ezra, anything else on Joe Schoen? Because we also have 3 quarterbacks and a head coach to talk about. So what else?
I got nothing to disagree. I want to kind of bank off what Shay said already. My roommate and I were just talking about this. The whole thing with Daniel Jones, like a vision, right? So the Giants are business in a way, right? So your vision in the next couple of years, you want to sign this guy for a huge contract. You essentially, like what Jimmy G was in San Francisco, and there was this, that, and another thing, and people want to argue Brock Purdy's the same way, but you essentially had a game manager. Not a top 5, not a top 10 quarterback, but he got the job done. He won enough, or the hope was to win enough games to be maybe a wild card team, maybe throw in a division title there, here and there, whatever it may be. And he didn't live up to that. I think we could all agree. But
yeah, I'm with you on that. I don't think he's lived up to the expectation of being a game manager. He kind of fell off. I think the first game of that Cowboys game was kind of the downfall of Daniel Jones. But we'll get into Daniel Jones in a couple minutes.
I also want to say, I think it's a good comparison you can make with a GM who just got fired too, and Joe Douglas, another New York GM. And that
Joe Douglas has done a much better job than Joe.
No, but that's what I'm going to say. He got fired. But now look at, you say draft picks hit on. Joe Douglas has hit on a lot of draft picks.
He has.
Besides Zach Wilson, the quarterback.
Yeah.
Which you could say, I don't know how long has Joe Schoen been there?
This is his 3rd year.
Okay, so he didn't draft Daniel Jones, which is...
No, he didn't.
Another reason you might want to ship him out. That's not the quarterback, his job. Now, this is the guy, right, where his kids told him to draft Jaden Daniels?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So maybe you should listen to your kids next time and draft Jaden Daniels. You would have had to trade up, obviously, and it would have been a lot, but you would have gotten yourself a good quarterback. Even though I don't think Daniel Jones is a New York fit quarterback. I don't think.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't think it is. I don't think, to be honest, I think the only quarterbacks out of this draft class that would have been, I think like McCarthy could have been a New York fit quarterback. I think Bo Nix could have been a New York fit quarterback. Drake May could have been a New York, I think those guys.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get into all the quarterbacks and for New York Giants. Brian Daboll is up next to talk about. Let's start off in 2022, where he did, I think, an incredible job of putting a very poor roster all the way to the playoffs. If you go back and look at the roster, right, they won a lot of one-score games that year off the back of Saquon and Daniel Jones, right, especially in the offensive side of the ball. And defensively, they were really good that year. Wink, created a lot of turnovers with his defense, and Brian Daboll has done a really good job year 1. You head into and he won Coach of the Year 1, right? Year number 2, injuries derail their team. The offensive line looks awful. Daniel Jones gets hurt. Andrew Thomas gets hurt. The defense kind of starts to fall apart. You're seeing the young secondary not producing, probably like they would expect it to, right? Your edge room is kind of weak outside of Kayvon Thibodeau. You start to ship off guys like Leonard Williams, who's a really productive player for them in year 2. And you had the whole Wink situation where Brian Daboll essentially ran Wink Martindale out of town. So that's that there. And then we're on to year 3 here, where I don't think Brian Daboll has done a very incredible job with this roster, but I think the roster, there's not much talent on this roster. Like, this is a bottom 5 roster in the NFL. Like, I'll say Colin, because he's the one that put this out there, that the Giants are a quarterback away. They're definitely not. Okay, every NFL team is a quarterback away. The Carolina Panthers are a Josh Allen away from making the playoffs. Okay, let's just put that out there, right? Every team is a quarterback away from making the playoffs. But there's teams that, like the Pittsburgh Steelers, like they're a Josh Allen away from winning the Super Bowl.
Did he really say that? They're a quarterback away?
Oh, yeah. He said that like week 3 against the Cowboys. He said that week 3 when we played the Cowboys and lost on Thursday night, and like Daniel Jones didn't play like perfect.
They're a quarterback, a running back, couple offensive linemen, couple of DBs,
couple interior defensive linemen to help.
Away.
Yeah, they're a lot.
I think if you put Mahomes or Josh Allen on the Giants, they're fighting for a playoff spot.
Yeah, they're gonna make the playoffs, but that's it.
They're not a quarterback away from a Super Bowl contending team.
So they're not a freaking. This team is not like Daniel Jones It was pretty bad this year, but they're not a quarterback away. If anybody says that, they're idiotic. They don't know what they're talking about. So I think Brian Daboll's done a pretty good job with the hand he's been dealt. I think his rosters have been pretty shit. You look at their top 10 players, their fifth and sixth best players are Darius Slayton. When your fifth and sixth best player is Darius Slayton, you guys have issues on your fucking roster. I love Darius Slayton. I think he's a great football player, but don't get me wrong.
That's the franchise guy.
Exactly. But when Darius Slayton is your best fucking player, your sixth or seventh best player, you have problems on the roster. You have to realize that. And I just don't think Joe Shane's done a good enough job and gave Brian Daboll enough help. I'll kick it to Shay for Brian Daboll.
I just want to. I'm going to ask you two because you're Giants fans. You would probably have a better idea than me because we look at coaches that are going to get fired this season. I mean, we can go through, but it's like Matt Eberflus will be fired. And
Mike McCarthy,
I hope
probably.
not. McCarthy looking on the hot seat. I just had his name in my head and it popped out. Where did it go? Antonio
Pierce, yeah.
Who I never thought should have gotten it. He got a contract and a head coaching job because the players liked him.
Yeah.
And one of his players wanted to leave. And I think that kind of shows enough. There's more, but that's just the simple ones. I mean, if the Eagles fall short again, Nick Sirianni, could even.
They have 8 wins now. They're probably not.
No, yeah, but I'm saying if they lose if they get a 2 seed and lose in the wild card.
That's true.
Say they match up against Minnesota or the Packers first round, they lose. Do you be okay? Maybe we're. Because everything else looks good for them. Mm-hmm. There's. I think Adam Schefter said 7 to 9 teams or something head coaching jobs open like that. He thinks.
I don't know if there's going to be 7. I don't know if there's 7 more or that's continuing from the 2.
Oh, I think it's in total. In total, it's 7 to 9.
7, I could see 7.
7 to 9 in total.
9 would be a little.
Who'd we lose so far? We lost Saleh and
Dennis Allen.
Dennis Allen of the Saints. Yes,
so
he's gone.
What'd you want to ask, Shay?
Do you think Brian Daboll will be one of those? Because I know that is a talk right now of, and again, the Giants have won 2 games.
Yeah. If I had to sit here and say today, is Brian Daboll fired? As take the floor first. Is he fired?
All I was going to ask, and I just want a yes or no from both of you, and I kind of will dabble on why. But
all right, well, let's answer this question first, and then you can get to your question. All right?
Go ahead.
I don't think he is. I think he's actually safe.
You think he stays?
I think he stays. I think they both stay.
Got it. Okay. I'm not going to agree or disagree, but I was going to build off of something. But if you don't think he gets fired, he doesn't get fired. Then
I don't know. I don't think he does. Ezra, do you think he gets fired?
No, and that's why I was going to ask. Do you think Daboll is a problem?
No, but I don't think he's helped.
He doesn't help, but I don't think he is the problem. I think the problem's a lot bigger than anything he.
I think the lack of talent is the problem on this roster. That's what I think.
It's such a bigger issue, whether it's managerial, whether it's GM, whatever the fuck you want to call it. It's such a bigger problem than just the head coach.
And I'll say this about Brian Daboll. Brian Daboll will get fired before Joe Shane, even though Joe Shane's done a worse job.
I think how many games the Giants have left? 7 games or so. They're 2-8 right now.
I think they're 2-8, 2-7, something like that.
I think these next 7 games can determine.
Oh yeah,
Brian
no, that's already been said.
Here's the thing: you got Tommy DeVito coming in as. All right,
we're gonna get to him.
I could rant on Tommy DeVito for about 30 minutes, like a whole thing. But anyway, you have Tommy DeVito coming in. If he could get Tommy DeVito to if he could coach well and coach good games, the Giants could win a couple more games. I think he's good. If not, I think his time in New York might be up. Now, also, if they lose a bunch of games, they're going to have a high draft pick, and they're going to need a quarterback. Everyone says Shedeur Sanders and Deion Sanders would be great in Dallas. What are the odds that the Giants would offer Deion Sanders the next head coaching job, and they draft Shedeur Sanders? Would Deion and take nothing? Everyone says Deion would go to Dallas. Would Deion go to New York and be the next head coach? And would they?
I don't think he would.
I get what you're saying. But I promise you, I have a good feeling I know who will be the next head coach of the Giants.
Oh, really? Oh, Bill Belichick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will,
I don't think Deion would, here's the thing, I don't think Deion would take the job. I don't think he would take the job
No,
anymore.
I don't think so either.
I don't think he would take the job.
Even though like Michael Irving came out and publicly said like he wants
like Dallas's head coaching job. He doesn't want the Giants head coaching job. I don't think he wants.
I think if Brian Dable does get fired and Joe Shane also gets fired, I'm pretty sure if they both get fired, which I think
Belichick becomes the GM and the head coach.
I think Bill Belichick will be the coach of the Giants. He loves the Giants. This is like his kind of team outside of the Patriots.
And then I think the next question is, well, actually, when we get into Daniel Jones, I'll get into it.
All right, Ezra, what was your question? Are you kind of asking?
Well, it's about Brian Dale being the problem, and I don't think he is.
I think that they won 9 games when they went to the playoffs. Right? I think that season alone, and now that Daniel Jones isn't the quarterback anymore, but Brian Dable got them those 9 wins. I think that kind of shows that he hasn't been the issue.
Yeah, that roster was worse than the roster they have now.
You think so? They had they had Saquon Barkley, which is
the receiving core was definitely worse.
Well, yeah, they didn't have Malik Neighbors.
The offensive line was worse. Yeah, the offensive line was
defense
worse.
was a lot better.
The defense was better too. Yeah, that team was probably better.
But again, probably not by a lot. Like
not by a lot.
That roster wasn't amazing, and they won 9 games.
Yeah.
No, I don't think they had
Fabian Moreau is their cornerback number 2.
I don't think they had the hardest schedule, but they won 9 games, got to the playoffs, and they won a playoff game.
Yeah, they did win. Yeah. So, all right, we move on here. Tommy Cutlets, Tommy DeVito. Let's talk about it. He will be starting for the New York Giants this week. For Tampa Bay. Listen, I no shade to Tommy DeVito for whatever me and Shay are about to say because we're about to go off on Tommy DeVito.
Ezra, are you a big Tommy DeVito guy?
He's a Tommy Cutlet guy.
All right.
Okay,
I'm a Tommy Cutlet guy, but I'm not a Cutlet guy.
Okay.
Hold on. I'm only a Tommy Cutlet guy for what he brings off the field and the energy that he brings to New York as the Tommy Cutlet. You know what I mean? With the fucking hand thing.
You admit he's not a good quarterback.
God, no. I don't think he should be starting.
Because there's
we'll get to the next
delusional
part, but he should not be starting.
Will say that this guy is a good NFL quarterback.
All right, so
I sit here and want to listen. I don't hate the guy, but it's just like there's so much about. You could go, Oscar.
All right, so the 4 games. Let's talk about now. Tommy DeVito is starting over Drew Lock. These two are kind of combined, right? The next two are Drew Lock and Tommy DeVito. I'm going to combine these two when I'm talking about these two right now. Tommy DeVito is the starter this week. Now, a lot of people are saying, why isn't Drew Lock the starter? Well, they believe that Drew Lock and Tommy DeVito are probably about the same equal level of quarterback play. They believe that that Tommy DeVito and Drew Lock, they could get the same result. And they think that this is essentially... Tommy could probably bring more of it. It looks better if they lose with Tommy DeVito than they lose with Drew Lock.
This might simply come down to ticket sales and making money.
True. Too.
You might put more. You're going to put more people in the stands to watch Tommy DeVito play quarterback
than Drew Lock. Exactly.
Giants fans are going to come watch. Even if they lose with Tommy DeVito, the fans will be better off saying losing with DeVito than losing with Drew Lock.
Now, here's where we tie everything back in. Joe Shane offered Drew Lock, right, the starting quarterback number 2 position, telling him, you're the quarterback number 2. And then Brian Dable goes ahead and gives Tommy DeVito the start this week. It kind of rubs, I think, the locker room the wrong way. I think it rubs, of course, fucking Drew Lock the wrong way. He's the guy that wanted to come in and back up Daniel Jones and hopefully get an opportunity to play, and he doesn't. We'll talk about Drew Lock in a second and everything, but Tommy DeVito is the starter this week. That's why he is starting, right? They think they view him as equal to better than Drew Lock and brings probably more of a spark, which he definitely does. Now, is he a good quarterback? No, he's awful. He's not very good. He has one of the highest sack rates in those 4-game stretch. The 4-game stretch they had 12 turnovers. I think it was 12 turnovers in 3 games, right? They had 12 turnovers in 3 games for the Giants.
Oh, DeVito did?
No, our defense.
Oh.
Our defense had 12 turnovers in 3 games when Tommy DeVito was starting. So, people don't realize that the Giants defense played very well. They also played Green Bay, who didn't have a good game. We were there.
Yeah, that was when Jordan Love was hot, too. And that was...
Yeah. They played
Jordan
the Patriots
Love in those 8 or
Commanders.
8 or 9 games. Jordan Love threw 1 interception, and it was that game.
Yes.
He threw it against the Giants.
So, let me just say this. Tommy DeVito is not a good quarterback. He's not the best quarterback in the roster. He's the third.
He's number 2 now because Daniel Jones isn't on the roster anymore.
I know. he's number 2 or number 1. Drew Lock's pretty bad too, but Tommy DeVito's not a good quarterback. I don't think he should be starting. I think Daniel Jones should still be the starter, but unfortunately, Daniel Jones is not on the roster anymore.
What was the whole? You guys know better than me. The whole reason cutting him, it's like an injury thing, right?
I'll get into Daniel Jones in a couple of minutes, but that's essentially Tommy DeVito. I think Shay can harp on why Tommy DeVito.
Well, I feel bad. Here's the thing. I feel bad for Drew Lock because again, you get told you're the number 2. You're the number 2. You're the number 2. The number 1 goes away. And now you're the number 2 still? Like, that just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
You're told you're the backup.
He went from number 2 to number 2.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and number 3 went to number 1.
Yeah, it's and I feel bad for Drew Lock because he works hard and he's had all these things and he's made some good plays. But I think Dable might be like, I think Dable's thoughts is Tommy DeVito can kind of show off his offense better than Drew Lock maybe can. Because DeVito did all right job.
The good way to explain Drew Lock is Drew Lock's going to be Jameis Winston. He's going to take those shots.
Exactly. I don't think Dable I think Dable wants. He's like, all right, DeVito, I'm going to put in a scheme, and you're going to just do the scheme.
Yes, exactly.
I'll tell you who to throw the ball to. Throw the ball to him. That's. Listen, I watched Tommy DeVito play last year. He's not a good quarterback. He was a hype man, and Giants fans rolled into the hype because they won some games with him. They didn't win. Again, they didn't win because of him. They won with him on the team. And
100%.
Like I said, I watched him play the Packers. I think he made one good throw where I was like, all right, that was a good throw. And it was on a last drive, big conversion, got him in field goal range. They kicked the field goal, win the game. Otherwise, they had Saquon Barkley running the ball a bunch, and they were just, it's check down, Tommy DeVito step up and scrambles. It's his arm talent is nothing good. It's nothing special.
No,
Giants fans will praise this guy until they die, and it's annoying because he's really not that good, but it's just like how New York fans are. They get a guy that they like, and they're going to praise him like he's the best quarterback in the league.
All right, Ez, what do you got?
So we talked about the Giants fans jumping on Tommy DeVito's 3-4 game stretch where they won a little bit. The Minnesota did the same thing with Josh Dobbs, right? Last year, we all remember that?
No.
Yeah.
So Kurt got hurt.
Yeah, then they went.
Oh, that's right. They won like a 3 or 4 game stretch with Josh Dobbs.
And Dobbs. But then you remember what happened to
and
Dobbs?
They looked good. And then now Josh Dobbs
got benched.
Backup.
Jared Hall.
Third string, I don't even know. But he got benched, and they saw how bad he really is.
Yeah.
So I feel horrible for Drew Lock. The interview, if we all saw it, of him in the locker room saying how he got told he was QB2, and now he's still QB2 with Daniel Jones not even on the roster anymore. Drew Lock will get his time. I think it'll take 3 or 4 games, but I would say,
don't think so.
Oscar, by the time we go to Atlanta, we're going to be seeing Drew Lock.
I don't think so, dude.
I don't know. I honestly think the Giants got a shot to even. I think I could see the Giants come out and like make something happen. Maybe they win this week against Tampa Bay. I don't think Tampa Bay is still banged up. I'm not sure if Mike Evans is back yet. I know he's been out for a while.
Yeah, we'll talk about.
But I mean,
injury guys on that whole time.
You never know. If Tommy DeVito, if the Giants are competitive, Tommy DeVito will be the quarterback. That's just how it is. If they're competitive, because again, like I said before, he will bring fans to games. He will make the team more money. Giants fans want to come watch Tommy DeVito. They don't want to go watch Drew Lock. That's just
100%,
how it is.
100%.
They watched DeVito last year. They know DeVito. They like him. They like his personality. They like his agent. They like everything about it. They don't want to watch Drew Lock. They want to watch Tommy DeVito.
100%. All right, there's so much we have to say on this guy. The list is so fucking long.
Mike Evans is healthy, by the way.
Oh, he is?
Okay.
So that's tough because he might give Banks 250 yards.
Do we start with Daniel Jones, the player or the person? First.
The person.
We need to talk about him as a person.
We do.
It's a football.
I know, but we have to talk. Okay, let's start with the player. Daniel Jones, 6 years, and he's done. He's done as a New York Giant. This one's tough for me. He's my favorite player in the league. Been the quarterback in the New York Giants for the past 6 years. It's really tough to see him go. But it unfortunately had to happen, right? The play of there wasn't on the field, wasn't there. There were sparks and flashes, especially back in 2022, where you thought Daniel Jones really could be the quarterback of the New York Giants for the next 10 to 15 years, and it didn't work out that way. And this season could have gone a lot different. We've seen the past. Let's talk about right now. This season could have gone a lot different if they have a kicker. They beat Washington. If they play better on defense, they beat Washington a second time. I think maybe if the defense steps up in a couple of these games, they might beat Pittsburgh. Even though I don't think Daniel Jones played the best.
They were in the Dallas game. They were in too.
Dallas game too. But even though their offense didn't look so hot that game, they only kicked field goals.
They kicked a bunch.
They kicked a bunch of field goals.
If this team could convert more on drives, they'd be a lot better. But against Washington, Washington they scored. They just didn't have a kicker.
They just didn't have a kicker.
Washington kicked field goals, but against Dallas, they couldn't finish drives. Like it's just that happens to NFL teams. Not
right.
NFL teams struggle.
Hey, listen. Last week they maybe beat the Panthers, and we're not talking about this right now. If Tyron Tracy doesn't fumble, right? So there's so many X factors to how this has gone down, but this is how it has happened, and it's sad to see it happen. Guys, anything else on Daniel Jones, the player? I mean, listen. Also, his production on the field this year was not up to 2022 standards. Not even close, guys. He had some good games. I'm not gonna lie to you. When he played the Commanders, he played well. When he played the Cowboys, he played all right. When he played Pittsburgh, he played okay. When he played Seattle, he played really well. So he had these up and down games, but it was just the inconsistency level of Daniel Jones was too much for the Giants, and they were done. Shay?
Yeah, I mean, I remember when Daniel Jones came. It was interesting to see him grow as a player because he came in the league and what was his big thing? He had a turnover problem. He turned the ball over a lot. We get into that 2022 season. I think he threw 24 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He didn't turn the ball over. He had a big fumbling problem when he came into the league. Every time he got sacked, he lost the ball. It was just the thing that happened every single time. Again, 2022, he had 7 interceptions. He probably maybe fumbled a couple times, once or twice. He had 10 or less turnovers, which for a quarterback is very good. He looked all right, maybe he got his turnover issues done. Now, you knew he wasn't the greatest thrower. Now, he throws, I will say, his deep ball, I think we said, he throws a solid deep ball. I think he could, Daniel Jones.
When he throws it.
Yeah, that's the thing. He is first read, curl route, dump. That is Daniel Jones always. It is, my first read's a curl.
He has no anticipation. No anticipation at all. He likes to see stuff that's open, and he wants it to be open instead of throwing to people that are open.
Yeah, if the first read's not there, that's when it gets interesting. You're like, oh, here you go. Oh no. He's got to make something happen there. He likes his first read. He loves curl. He throws a lot of curls. That's just how it is for him. I think when he lets it loose and throws a deep ball, sometimes it looks all right. He has a decent deep ball. Again, his offensive line hasn't helped him out. We always knew this. We knew this was going to be a make or break a year for him at this point. And like you said, Oscar, he looked good in some games. I remember we talked about this a few weeks ago. I'm not sure if it was on the podcast, but these couple of games he's playing good. He's saving his job because he stinks, but then he looks all right. I don't know what to think of this guy. He's bad, and the next game he looks all right. I'm like, all right, maybe he's not bad. And then he stinks again. I'm like, oh, nope, that's what I know. And then he's solid. I'm like, I don't know. He looks bad. He plays all right. You knew he wasn't a top 15, 20 quarterback.
No,
he wasn't playing. There was time he wasn't, like you said, the Seattle. He wasn't playing awful. He was getting the job done and looked okay. Recent few games, again, the Carolina game, they didn't score a lot of points. A couple games ago, they didn't score a lot of points. But it's always tough when you got a guy like this and you got to see him, and you feel bad for him because he sends out the. I didn't even know he did this, but he sent out basically a goodbye message last night, and I was like, oh, I thought he was just going to be on the team the rest of the season, just kind of.
That's what we thought too.
I heard he's playing safety in practice. All right, maybe he just kind of. But then he's like, I think it's best I just go. I don't know if Daniel Jones' time in football, if his time in football is done or not. It sucks if his time in football is done. Hopefully someone signs him as their backup quarterback. Maybe like Buffalo. You got a guy, he's similar build to Josh Allen, athletic. You can kind of, a team like that that has a starter that's similar to him, and maybe you can get him as a career backup, which isn't the worst job.
What do you got?
So numbers-wise for Daniel Jones, 24 wins, 44 losses, and a tie with his career on the Giants, 70 passing touchdowns, and 47 interceptions with a passer rating of 84.3. So not great, obviously. Shay hit it right on the head with kind of what Daniel Jones we're going to see. Is it going to be the consistent Daniel Jones that carves up Washington every time he plays Washington, or is it going to be the Daniel Jones that throws 3-4 interceptions and looks like he should be off the team? It was kind of all over the place. It sucks to see him go. I do want to throw this card out there because I just saw it on Instagram. Oscar, don't punch anything or start crying yet. Should the Cowboys sign Daniel Jones?
Yeah, he'd be their starting quarterback number 1, but God, no way
He would not. The Cowboys would not sign.
I don't think they would do
Jones.
it.
The Cowboys would not sign.
Yeah, they already got Trey Lance. I don't think they would do it.
Yeah, they would.
We'll talk about it in a minute where he goes. But I want to talk about Daniel Jones, the person, right? I know this isn't something we normally do, but I definitely want to do it. Listen, Daniel Jones every day has came into work as a New York Giant. He's worked hard. There's not a guy that's dealt with more shit. I think throughout the media and throughout the whole NFL than Daniel Jones, right? I think Daniel Jones has probably been clowned on the most.
He's booed by his own fans. Boo him,
right? I don't think anybody's been hurt worse as a player, and he's came in there every day as a professional and said the right things to the media, right? You, Max, you're not even in the podcast. Shut the fuck up.
No.
But I just think that Daniel Jones, as a person, it just sucks to see this because I think he's dealt with more shit than good, and especially in the NFL. I think this guy, he's showing up every day, said the right things, right? Taking it on the chin. Even his goodbye message speech, he was like, yeah, I didn't do enough to keep my job. He was like, he didn't blame anybody else. He didn't blame Brian Dable. He's been a complete professional about everything, and just as a person, I wish Daniel Jones the best wherever he goes. Guys, one last thing. Where will Daniel Jones end up on Monday?
On Monday?
Yeah, he's got to go through waivers.
You think someone's going to pick him up already?
Probably.
Really?
Max, what the fuck? You cut the second light. Guys, I didn't do anything. Max, who's over there? You are. Nobody can fucking see us. Turn on the light. Well, no, now you have to hit the button again.
Where will Daniel Jones be? I really don't know. I don't know backups around the league and where a team could go. I mean, I don't know who Minnesota's backup is right now. Maybe he goes over there with Sam Darnold to hang out there for a bit.
He's from Carolina.
He's from Carolina. Yeah, I don't think
Nick Mullins and JJ McCarthy's on IR.
I don't think.
I think he goes to Las Vegas.
I don't think the Panthers. Yeah, I mean, with Minshew, I don't know. I don't know if a team's going to pick him up to play quarterback for them the rest of the season, kind of thing. That's the thing. I don't think he's a guy where the Raiders or who else is no quarterback. The Cowboys are we need a quarterback. Let's sign Daniel Jones.
Max said Miami.
Miami. That's just not something.
It would be good.
That's just not something.
Better.
That's just not something Miami does. They would have signed a better backup quarterback than Skylar Thompson when Tua was hurt.
All right, so give me a team. You got to give me a team where he's his next
I don't know
team.
who's Buffalo's backup quarterback. I think Buffalo would be a good fit because him and Josh Allen are. I mean, obviously not similar skill level, but
build wise. I know what you're saying.
Size,
I know
athleticism. Can throw
where
the
is he
ball.
Next?
The Bills' backup quarterback is Mitch Trubisky.
Oh, they still have Money Mitch. Yeah, they want to get rid of Money Mitch. I'll go with you. I'll say Vegas because I don't really know who else is.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Vegas.
Struggling in the quarterback department.
Ezra.
My real answer is nowhere. I think he's just kind of done for this year. He might be a backup next year.
He'll definitely get signed next year.
Yeah, but we're in week 12. Teams already have their roster set. They don't want to pick up a guy like this to be a backup now. So I guess the only really option would be maybe the Rams. I don't know who their backup is, but I don't know. McVay could take a young guy and try and turn him into something.
Jimmy G's their backup and Stetson Bennett.
He's awful.
Jimmy G.
And they got Stetson Bennett, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just give me one team. We got to move on. We got to get going.
I'll say Vegas. I don't really know. There's not many places. They have Desmond Ritter as their backup. Aiden O'Connell's on IR.
Oh, Aiden O'Connell's on IR?
Yeah, O'Connell's hurt.
Oh, okay, so they'll definitely pick him up probably. All right. These leaderboards are wrong. We keep moving on. Guys, we're all taking KC correct. They play the fucking Carolina Panthers.
This is going to be a slaughter fest. I think.
This is
after they lost to the Bills, which I said they were going to lose to the Bills. I said that would be their first loss. They're going to slaughter, and Carolina just beat. Is Carolina off a bye too? I feel like they didn't, or did they play the Giants last week? No, they're off a bye.
They're off a bye. All right, so we move on. We're all taking Carolina. Chicago.
I'll lock Kansas City.
Oh yeah, we're all locked Kansas City.
Yeah.
All right, Minnesota and Chicago. Ez, kick it off.
Vikings. I don't think the Bears bad.
Okay.
The Bears are really bad.
Minnesota. Okay, Shay?
I've been debating on this one because I watched the Bears probably play their best game of the year last year against the Packers. Last week against the Packers. Caleb Williams had a lot of energy. He wasn't. He didn't make any. He didn't make one really good throw to Cole Kmet on the side. I was like, oh, that was a good throw. I mean, the jump ball to Rome Odunze end of the game. It's a good ball, but again, like Caleb Williams played good, and he was great with his legs, and he had a lot of energy. You could see telling Eberflus to go for it on 4th and 3. Like he wanted to win that game, and he was really into that game, and he played well, and they really had a shot to beat the Packers, and they did what they needed to do. They maintained slow offensive drives, wore the Packers defense down. Their defense didn't do anything spectacular, but they got the one red zone turnover and the one red zone stop, kept them in the game. Unfortunately, things don't go their way. Minnesota isn't. They're struggling recently in games that they shouldn't be because they're not. Sam Darnold isn't the best quarterback, and we kind of said that. He started good early on, hasn't been great. I'm going to take the upset. I don't know if this will be my upset, but I will take the Bears in this game. Because I think they're due for a win, and this is a divisional matchup.
I think so too. I'm actually going to go with the Bears. I at one point I wasn't going to go with the Bears. I didn't think they were going to win, but I actually now I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to go with Chicago. All right, we move on. Houston and Tennessee, guys. Are we all taking Houston this week?
Don't sleep on the Titans. Yeah, I will take the Texans. Just a better team.
Yeah.
It's a divisional matchup. I think this could be a close game because again, divisional matchups usually always close. But I think the Texans just the better, pretty much. All-around better team.
I think we all think Texans are just the better team than the Titans.
Are struggling in a lot of departments.
Yeah. All right. Lions, Colts again. I think this one is we could probably hit the number on.
I want to draw the Lions up for a loss coming soon. And I think if Chicago does lose again this week to Minnesota, I think next week the Bears got a shot against the Lions, really do. Even though you might be, the Lions are just the best team in the league. The Bears always play the Lions well. I don't know what it is. They always play the Lions well every time. Thanksgiving game, you never know what's going to happen. Lions
I don't think this is the one the Lions lose.
No, I don't think, not this one. Definitely not this one. I'm saying next week if the Bears. They won't lose to the Colts. They're just a better team. They're hot right now. I like to be like, oh, teams are due for a loss. The Lions are just, they're too talented. Where if Jared Goff plays bad and throws 5 picks, they still win the game against the Texans. Yeah. So that's just the team they are. If one guy plays bad, they find another way. If they can't throw the ball, they run the ball. If they can't run the ball, they'll throw it. It's just how it is.
That's just how they are. As you also taking Detroit this week?
Yeah, they absolutely steamrolled Jacksonville and looked extremely good last week.
All right, great. We move on. Miami and New England this week. I'm going with Miami. I don't know about all you.
Yeah, I think Miami's got Tua again, and with Tua, they're a good football team. They're 4-6, record-wise. Doesn't look good. They're not probably. Listen, I mean, could they make the playoffs? I think they could. I mean, you got to win.
The problem is
6 of your next 7.
They'll be. I promise you, they'll be the 8th seed.
You think
I don't know if they can jump Denver.
Denver, yeah. Listen, Denver. I don't think Denver's a great team. I mean, Denver's a good team. I don't think they're great. I don't know Denver's schedule coming up, but I'm pretty sure they're 6-5 right now. The Broncos.
They played KC once. They got to play probably the Chargers.
Where are the Broncos?
That's the problem.
Okay, hold on.
And
why don't I see the Broncos?
Vegas, Cleveland,
and they're
Indy,
6-5.
LA, Cincinnati, Kansas City.
Yeah, they got some tough games coming up, and I think if they lose 3 of those games and they're 9-8, and the Dolphins can somehow be 10-7, Dolphins already played Buffalo twice. I know they have to play the Packers next week. I don't know the rest.
It's a winnable game.
The
they
schedule.
could win that.
No, it is definitely winnable, but I'm not sure like in toughness wise. Like I know like that's going to be a tough game for them to win. This week they should get it done. Then they have the Jets. Then they have the Texans as a tough one.
The Niners, Browns, and Jets again.
All right, Ez, what do you got this week?
It's tough
for this one.
I'm gonna stick with Miami as well. They've looked good. They've played well. New England's not a great team. It's in Miami too, which should be some fireworks going off offensively for the Dolphins.
I'm with you on this one. I think the development of Drake May, though, definitely has came alive. I think he's doing pretty good with working with nothing. So I think he's done a really good job there. Giants and Tampa Bay. Ez, what do you got?
As much as I want to ride on Tommy DeVito and hate him, I can't. The Buccaneers have lost 4 straight and are a much better team than a 4-6 football team. I'm not going to say got robbed, but they should have beaten the Niners. Kind of upset about that one still. They should have beat Kansas City. That's okay. And then a dogfight against Atlanta. all 3 straight losses. I will take Tampa.
Shay.
Yeah, I'll take Tampa in this game. I think the big game comes next week on Thanksgiving for the Giants.
Yep.
The game that is sadly we all have to watch because it's the only thing that's on. Where we will watch Tommy DeVito and Cooper Rush square off and see how that goes.
Tommy DeVito is going to draw good ratings. Don't worry. The NFL's okay.
I don't think it's just the game is going to suck. I mean, the final might be like 13-10.
So that's good. That's good for the NFL. We need a close game on Thanksgiving.
Or it could be 38-35 or something crazy.
I guess you never know.
know.
I guess you never know. I'll take Tampa in this one.
The Giants locker room, I think, is imploding. I think there's just bombs everywhere. It starts all the way at the top. This locker room's not happy. I think guys are pissed that Daniel Jones is gone. Multiple guys in the locker room. I think this team they're imploding fast, and I just see it. I see the train rails just falling off very soon, and I don't think Tommy DeVito's the savior that could bring the whole locker room back together. I really do think this is a something where this is just a Giants implosion. I'm taking Tampa Bay this week, even though I think that the Giants have a chance this week.
I think they do too, but I think just Tampa Bay's the better team.
I'm with you. I think the Giants suck. That's tough to say. All right, we move on. The Cowboys, and oh God, Jesus Christ, these games keep getting worse. Every fucking game. Commanders and Dallas, what do you got?
There's at least one.
Washington.
At least one good game. I don't remember the rest. Yeah, I'll take Washington too. Dallas might be the worst team in the league right now. They might be the worst team in the league. Them and the Giants are going to fight it. Them and the Giants are going to duke it out on Thanksgiving to see who is the worst team in the league.
Or the worst team in the league.
Yeah, I think that's seriously who's the worst team.
And Jacksonville might go between the winner.
Jacksonville's better. Jacksonville's
better.
not awful.
Las Vegas might be worse than them too.
Vegas is bad. Yeah, Vegas
is bad too.
Jacksonville's not awful. They've just gotten a really bad break with scheduling, and now Trevor Lawrence gets banned. With Trevor Lawrence, they beat the Vikings.
Yeah.
And who else did they play? Oh no, they got embarrassed by the Lions.
Ran
but
through
they
by
would
the
have beaten
Lions.
Minnesota. They played the Packers good. Like the Jaguars aren't that bad. Their record and how they are is totally not
it's bad.
The same thing.
All right, we move on. Denver and the Raiders. What do you got?
I'm going to take Denver. They played extremely well against Atlanta, blew them out at home. In Vegas, I think this is a little closer of a game than a blowout. Vegas is really bad, though, so you never know.
I really want to take Vegas in this game because I think this is a good game. In Vegas is a good game. But when you're that bad everywhere for being the Raiders, it's tough to take you. It is. It's tough. I don't think there's one thing about the Raiders that their
D-line's pretty
there's
good.
two players I like.
Max Crosby, Christian Wilkins.
I think he's hurt.
He's hurt?
I think so.
Oh. Yeah, I think he might be hurt.
They have two good players, I think. They have
Max Crosby
and Brock Bowers.
Yeah, Brock Bowers is a stud.
Yeah. I said coming out of the draft, that guy's a stud. He could block. He could catch. He's going to be a 1,000-yard receiver. He's going to catch 100 balls. Stud. And he could block. That's the next George Kittle. Like I said, it's the next George Kittle.
He's better than George Kittle.
I don't know if he's better than this. It's tough to be better than George Kittle, but projected to be better than George Kittle. Yeah, I think he could be. This is a stud. I don't know why. I get why he fell. He's a tight end, but I don't know why he fell because I thought this guy was a stud coming out.
All right, we're all taking Denver.
I'll take Denver, but this is a close game.
I don't know if Atlanta's on here.
I do have a question before we move on.
Okay. Shoot.
Who is your rookie of the year and why?
Offensive rookie of the year?
Yep.
That's tough. I think
Jay Daniels.
Bo Nix and Jay Daniels have a close one right now.
I know Bo Nix has played well, but
Bo Nix is red
Daniels,
hot.
just because Jay Daniels has got off to a hotter start than Bo Nix.
Jay Daniels is 7-4. Bo Nix is 6-5. I think it's a toss up between the two. I think honestly, whichever team finishes the season with the better record, you can give it to that guy. Whichever team finishes better, give it to them. I think Washington will finish better. I give it to Jay Daniels because I think the Broncos. I don't know if they'll make the playoffs. I think it's close, but I think Commanders, they have an easy schedule, so I think they should be able to finish with 11 wins.
One good game of the week.
This is
one good game. Green Bay.
No, I think the Sunday
and
night
the
game
Niners
is pretty good too.
Right.
Rams Eagles might be all right. Oh no, and the Monday night game is good too.
Monday night should be pretty good.
Harbaugh brothers square up. But yes, this is one of the suspected good games of the week.
Man, I don't. As go start first. I don't know where to go here.
I was going to kick it to Shay and ask him, because I know he knows, like you said, the Jacksonville Indy Week, the Jaguars have owned the Colts or something like that, and the Packers always bear very closely.
The Packers in the Packers in the playoffs are not good against the Niners. However, I think the Packers in the regular season are pretty good against the Niners. From recent memories, what I can remember, they've beaten the Niners every time besides maybe one in the past 5 or I'd think 6 years. They've played the Niners 3 or 4 times. They've beaten them every time besides maybe one, maybe 2019 when they got beat up. But I think regular season wise, they've beaten them. Playoffs, they haven't. They haven't beaten them, and I couldn't even tell you the last time they beat the Niners in the playoffs. It's been forever. Regular season, they beat them. And I think after what happened in the Super playoffs last year, I'm going to take the Packers. I think the Packers win this game. It's at home in freezing cold Lambeau where they were getting snow, just like Cleveland. There might be some. I mean, I think they'll shovel it off the ground, but could be a little still slippery and slick. I'll take the Packers, the cold weathered team.
Ez?
I'm agreeing. I'm going to take the Packers. I know it's going to be a close one. Probably going to be a really good game. Weather might be a factor, like Shay said. We'll see.
I just want to make sure Brock Purdy's going to play. I know he was banged up.
Is Nick Bosa playing?
Nick Bosa's playing?
Oh, look.
Or he's not
playing? I don't know. Injury
he's
guys.
Questionable.
Did he practice?
Right shoulder after seeing an MRI. He feels good. Cool.
I assume
Purdy
will play.
What about Bosa? Ez?
Who?
Nick Bosa?
Hold on. Nick Bosa is listed as questionable. His hip, he did not participate in practice on Thursday.
He's probably not going to play.
I thought so, but then somebody didn't practice on Friday and they did play.
Oh, shit. All right.
This is a big game for the Niners, though, because if the Niners lose this one, you're 5-6. I mean, I don't want to say you.
I think they're 5-6 now.
They're 5-5 right
They're
now.
5-5 right now. There's 3 teams in their division.
If you lose this game, I don't want to say you kiss your playoff hopes goodbye, but it's a lot tough. 5-6 is going to be tough to get in the playoffs, especially if you're fighting for a wild card spot. Because then the Packers are a wild card team. That's an extra win. They'll have 8 wins. Then you have 5. Yeah.
I'm going with the Niners as in my
upset.
Upset, yeah. I think the Niners are due for a win, and I think this is it.
The Niners did win. They won 2 weeks ago. They lost last week, but they did win.
They got upset last week
against Seattle. Which is crazy.
They beat Tampa 2 weeks ago.
I like to think the Packers basically lost last week.
But you got the win. That's all that matters.
I usually don't get to feel. I feel like as a Packer fan, there's not many games where I'm like, we didn't deserve to win that game and we won. I feel like that doesn't happen. I have had a lot of times where we were better, we win that and we lost. But I don't listen. Oscar knows the feeling of, as a Giants fan, probably games you don't deserve to win, but you do win.
I don't know that one.
No,
I know the other way around.
Games you deserve to win, but you don't win. Or no, games that you don't deserve to win, but you do win. You know that. Which one do you want?
I know the ones where I thought we played better than them, we still lost.
Yeah, I've had those.
Like where we don't have a kicker.
Not many times. Like the Chiefs, perfect example. The team that doesn't deserve to win, but they end up winning. And you know what I said when they blocked the field goal against the Broncos? I was like, "You lucky mother!" And then I watched it last week, and I said, "You know what? Thank God, thank Lord." Because I watched the Packers defense has to play better this week, which I think they will because they got embarrassed by an awful Chicago team.
All right, move on. 2 birds. Nobody will watch them on the West Coast. Nobody will watch them on the East Coast. Everybody will watch them on the West Coast. Kind of, maybe. I don't know. Seahawks and Cardinals. I'm going with Cardinals.
Cardinals are the hot team right now.
They're red hot. Great on the road comparatively. Seattle's been really shaky at home. Seattle could tie up the division here with a win.
Which is weird because usually Seattle at
big Arizona.
I'm going to take Seattle as my upset. I think they're actually home underdogs, which is, always a little weird, especially for divisional games. But
I think they won last week and kind of just got a little lucky in there. That's why there's.
I don't know.
That's why I'm taking Arizona. I just think. I don't think Arizona.
I don't like either of the teams.
I don't
like either of the teams. I didn't. Arizona.
Also,
I know that
I'll take the better quarterback and the better coach.
Arizona's playing better right now, but
I think Mike McDaniel.
I didn't think they were very good. And then Seattle, I think roster-wise, Seattle's much better, but they're just not putting it together.
Even though I think
They've played-
McDonald's done a good job over there.
I think Seattle should be able to score 30-plus points easily. If they could stop the Cardinals a couple times, they'll be fine, but you never know.
All right.
Eagles-Rams, Ezra. This is a big game. This is similar to the Packers-Niners game in playoff hopes right here for the West Coast
Yes,
team.
the Rams need this win bad. Really, really bad.
As I think I ask you every time the Rams play, but what's the over-under on this game?
48.5. It's not that high. Monday night's bigger. It's 50.5 Monday Night Football total.
That's crazy.
The Monday night game is higher?
That's ridiculous.
With the Chargers playing? I know they scored a lot last week, but they're usually like...
Yeah, this.
I would slam
Their defense has held teams to, I think, the least amount of points in the NFL, and the over-under for Monday night is 50.5.
That's correct. Wow. I would take the over in this game and the under in that one.
Fuck the Commanders. The Rams are the fourth best team in the NFC, man. They really are.
Wow.
They're 5-5 right now.
They're 5-5.
They're
Yeah, they're the fourth best team in the NFC. I don't care what anybody says.
When they're healthy.
They're the fourth best team in the NFC. They got Matthew Stafford. They got Cooper Kupp. They got Puka Nacua. They actually have a really good rookie in Jared Verse, who's been really good for them. He'll win Defensive Player of the Year. I think he's ran away with it at this point. But I'm taking the Rams. I'm taking the Rams.
Upset if you want. They are.
No, I already have my upset. I already took the Niners. So, what do you got?
You like the Niners on the road over the Rams home? Upset?
Yeah, because I think the Eagles are too good. The Eagles are good. The Eagles are like this.
I agree with you, and that's why I'll take the Eagles. A lot of people like the Rams in this game. I think the Eagles are just a good team, really good team, all around, better team. And I think they can just pound the Rams. And I think if they pound the Rams, and Jalen Hurts can then play off of it, the Eagles will be fine. I think the Eagles will win this game because I think
Philly.
I think the Rams are good, not good enough. It's just kind of.
Eagles next week are playing the Ravens. That will be a spectacular game. But I think this week. Next week. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
this week
they'll be
Philly for sure.
Ravens aren't very good either. Lamar Jackson stinks.
He just can't play the Steelers.
Or
he's
the Chiefs.
good. He just
he can't play any team he plays.
He sucks against the Steelers.
All right. Talk about Lamar Jackson, Ravens and Chargers. As what do you got?
I'm taking LA. I want all the smoke for it. I don't care. The Chargers looked really good last week.
I don't think that's crazy.
You're also taking the Chargers?
No, I didn't say that.
Yeah, I would take the Ravens, and I like the Ravens this week. So.
The Ravens are favored. The Chargers are my upset.
Not only do I like the Ravens, I almost like the Ravens in not a blowout, but I like a Ravens big win this week.
They need it.
Multiple score win for the Ravens. That's my. If we have bold predictions for the week, Ravens win by at least 2 scores. That's my bold prediction for the week.
We'll see. The Ravens aren't great on the road either.
One guy's heavily teamed on the Chargers. The other guy heavily teamed on the Baltimore.
The Chargers are 7-3, by the way. If they win this game, they will be 8-3.
The Chargers are a very good football team. They look almost.
They got a good coach now, and they have a good quarterback. So at that point, you're a good team. That's how it goes. Good quarterback, good coach.
I don't know.
And it's Battle of the Brothers.
I think because here's the thing. I think that John Harbaugh. No,
Jim is the better coach.
Jim is going to do a very good job of stopping Lamar Jackson.
I don't think John's the best coach, if we're being honest. I don't think John Harbaugh is.
Right.
I think Jim's a better coach than John.
Yes, definitely.
Yes, I think we all said that. I think Jim's going to do a very good job of stopping Lamar this week.
But I just think the Ravens and Derrick Henry and the experience is a lot more than this Chargers young team. I think this Chargers team has got a really bright future. I just think they're not there yet. This is like the Packers. I think they're just not there yet, but they got a really good future. I think they just need a little time. I think the experience and the heavy offense of the Ravens.
I'll pick Baltimore last week.
Did not practice. Ponky did not practice.
That's another reason. And the Chargers had a big win last week against Cincinnati.
But if the Chargers stop the run, they're going to win the game. They're going to win the game.
Here's the thing: if the Ravens run the ball, they'll be fine. But if they go away from it like they tend to do, then
Yeah, they get pass happy sometimes. All right, anything else? We got to go. Hello. No? Okay. Shay, anything else?
I think we're good for this week.
All right, we're good. We ran that down that quick. Got the Giants stuff done, and we are out. Everybody, we'll see you next time. Peace out.